All right, we continue with the Government of National Unity talks, which have now brought back the conversation of the professionalization of the public service. Now, this follows the emergence of a letter detailing the DA's demands, which, among others, was for the cabinet ministers to select, rather for their cabinet ministers to select directors general. The Public Service Association's General Manager, Reuben Maleka, joins us now to share their views on this matter. Welcome to The Full View, Reuben. Thank you very much for joining us. So, when many were still interrogating the DA's letter demanding that the selection of specific directors general be overseen by their ministers, more letters have been leaked, and President Cyril Ramaphosa has responded to John Steenhuisen, saying he prefers not to deal with the legally incompetent proposal to unilaterally redetermine contractual arrangements of DGs. Your take on just that response?
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity. I think President Ramaphosa is correct and is accurate, and that is the leadership that we want. We want decisive leadership where things that are out of control and out of way are dealt with immediately. We believe that is correct, that DA should not see themselves as they are coming now to bring what they've been complaining about, which is cater deployment. They've been complaining that the ANC, was actually implementing cater deployment by bringing the DGs. Now suddenly, because they are eyeing for positions of the ministers, they also want to do the same thing. That is hypocrite. We cannot allow that. We cannot even allow that the DGs apply for any new positions. DGs that are on contract must complete their term. And if DA wants to assess their performance, yes, there's performance management in the public service that can be done, but not to consider thinking that they can terminate or even dismiss certain DGs based on what they wish to deploy, what they want to deploy, as they've been against cater deployment. So as the PSA, the DGs is our members. We're going to protect their rights.
And Reuben, how important, though, is it for this aspect of government, the administrative function, to be depoliticized? Because we ever so often hear of the need to do so, be it professionalize or depoliticize, because of the need for continuity in government, but also for safety of some of these officials. Absolutely.
As the PSA, non-political trade union, we've been advocating professionalization of the public service, that nobody must attach a public servant to a political person, because politicians comes and goes, but we public servants remains, and our mandate is simple: implement the mandate of the government of the day, no matter which party, which means that we are not worried about which party is in charge or is in rule in terms of government. All what we are concerned about is that we must render the service that is required according to the standard to the public, because we are serving South Africans. So if now political parties would come and say that since we are now part of this, we need to remove certain people, that we're going to defend and we're going to win it.
But the Democratic Alliance seems to believe that the current DGs would not take instructions from DA ministers.
You see, that is exactly what they've been against, to say there should not be cater deployment. So how do they have a fear today of thinking that DGs would not take instruction from their authorities? Because DGs in the public service are very professional. They understand their employment conditions and they understand their contract that they've signed. And I don't believe there's any DG who will deliberately not take instruction from an authority simply because he's coming from different political parties. We, the public servants, we are here to serve, but not to play politics. And we just want to caution any political party such as DA to refrain from intimidating or trying to say public servants are political. Public servants are not political. Public servants are employees and professionals who render service to the South Africans.
One would assume that the role of DGs now is quite important during this period where the president is yet to establish a cabinet. Just talk us through the role now that they're playing.
Absolutely. One would imagine that since after the elections in May, we're almost end of June, government is running, South Africans and everybody else that require public services, they are rendering. Schools are run, police is running, elsewhere Home Affairs is running. So who is in charge of that particular service? It's the DGs. And that shows professionalism, that despite that authorities are still pending to be appointed, but the bureaucrats is there, our members who are the DGs are running departments. So we get surprised to hear that DA wants to suggest that as if DGs are idling and they're waiting to hear who's the authority. And authorities come and give mandate, but that does not change the fact that DGs must function like employees and must render a service.
All right, Reuben, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. That was the Public Service Association's General Manager, Reuben Maleka.